Hey y'all, welcome to How to Stay at Home Ec with Brett Janae. So today in How to Stay at Home Ec, we're going to talk about thoughts and feelings, which doesn't sound very much like home ec, I know. But I think that one of the things that we get to deal with when we spend a lot of time with ourselves, maybe we spend a lot of time by ourselves, and we spend a lot of time at home, and it reflects poorly, maybe even on your home experience, are thoughts and feelings, thinking things that don't normally come up because we tend to be very busy people who keep ourselves very busy. And now, for the first time in a while, maybe we're not quite as busy. There's not as much to do. And we have, in some cases, exhausted all of our coping mechanisms. We can't necessarily go very many places. The places that we do go, things are different. We're wearing masks, which has a whole other load of psychological interestingnesses. But we do that to keep other people safe and to keep ourselves safe. And it's responsible. So it's what we do. But when we're at home, so we're at home, and a lot of times we have thoughts and feelings that we're not ready for. Anxiety creeps in. We get nervous about small things or not so small things. We wonder if this is ever going to end, if things are going to go back to normal the way that we remember, or if everything is going to be different. Maybe it's going to be different in a good way, but it's still, differences can cause you to be nervous, especially when our world isn't going in a way that we can map out. We don't have the experience to be able to map this right now. And so as we're sitting, or as we're even doing the things around our house, maybe cleaning out your underwear drawer in my last video, or maybe cooking dinner for yourself, or watching your favorite show, or even watching a movie that you've never seen before, or playing games, or, a whole host of things. We find ourselves faced with thoughts and feelings that we're not necessarily, A, maybe we're not ready for, but B, things that can cause us some pretty big anxiety. And so what I wanted to talk about today and How to Stay at Home Ec is a little bit about how to deal with those feelings. So I think in a similar way to meditation, and this doesn't have to be a meditation. You can meditate if you'd like. There are a lot of people who talk about meditation out there. What I would say is that when you're finding yourself doing whatever it is that you're doing, and you come across a thought or a feeling that maybe you don't like, or maybe something that scares you, that we practice in this time while we're in our homes. We practice allowing those thoughts and feelings to be real, maybe even thanking ourselves, the ether, the cosmos, for letting us feel that thing, and then letting it go. That's not something that comes naturally necessarily to us. We usually either run away from our feelings, or we try to cover them up. But I want to challenge you to spend a couple of minutes every day in some sort of silence, maybe in nature. I feel like that's a good idea. Just even going outside, and like for me, it's sitting on my front patio. I sit with a notebook, or sometimes without a notebook. And as the clouds go by, like in the case of today, I can allow my thoughts to go away with the clouds. I can think of something and be either confused by it or scared by it. I allow myself to think the thought, to feel the feeling associated with that thought, and then to allow it to go away with the clouds. And the great thing about nature is when you're in nature, you can tell how nature cycles through, taking things up, finding gratitude, finding growth, and then letting it go. And this is good things too. This is like elation. These are not just thoughts and feelings that are scary. These are good feelings too. But sometimes when we get a good feeling, we want to hang on to it so much that we push ourselves into a place where we're like a manic or like a mania, where we want to keep that so much that we feel like we need to work really hard to keep our happiness or our elation. And that can be just as destructive as being afraid or being feeling lost or feeling hopeless. In fact, it's just the other extreme of those things. So I wanted to show you one of my tools today. There are many tools that I use. I think that regular physical activity is a great way to deal with thoughts and feelings. I think music is super effective at bringing us out of ourselves. Sometimes you can use music as an escapism. I challenge you to allow music to not necessarily, yes, you can escape listening to music, but maybe think of your life as a piece of music, in that you can use it to let go of the things that are bothering you. Not necessarily running from them, but to breathe in your truth, maybe with songs that have words, maybe with songs that don't, but to breathe in that like a song, and then the song changes, right? So our lives are so cyclic. And when we try to hold on to the thoughts and feelings, or our fear tries to hold on, or maybe like our id, your inner child tries to hold on to happiness and joy, those are times when we arrest ourselves, and we're not meant to be arrested. We're meant to, our minds and thoughts and feelings are meant to go by as the clouds do. They're meant to start like a song and end. So I think that it's important when you're using your coping mechanisms, yes, if it's too much for you, allow yourself to be taken away into a place where you are maybe even escaping your thoughts and feelings. But at some point, allow yourself to feel that feeling without trying to get away from it. Because that's when you start to realize that it's just a thought. It's just a feeling. There's a sort of detachment about it, right? Where you can say, I am not what I'm feeling right now. It's affecting me. How is it affecting me? Check in with yourself. How is this thought? How is this feeling affecting me? And when you realize, okay, well, this thought or this feeling is making my heart race. This thought or this feeling is making me feel hopeless. This thought or this feeling is making me want to go out and do everything right now. It's making me want to do things that maybe even are unsafe, or irresponsible. Allow yourself to say, okay, well, that's what I feel like doing. And then you choose the type of person that you want to be, and you choose to let that feeling go and choose to be the person that you want to be, and to do the things that that person would do. And maybe that means that you're sitting in your front lawn and the clouds are going by and you feel a feeling and you don't really like it. But then you look at it and you go, you know what? I'm afraid, but I don't want to live in fear. What can I do in this moment to honor myself and not the fear? And number one is to let that fear go. Okay. If you can't do that, sometimes escapism is good. Sometimes doing something that makes you feel like you is good. Sometimes maybe being productive is good, or listening to music, or dancing, or writing in your journal. So I have had some anxiety about journals in the past. I don't like the idea of having a journal that I have to tell all of the details of my life. I feel indebted to it. so that I'm like, oh, I left that out. I'm hiding from my journal, right? So I've come up with a different way to journal. My type of journaling, this is a sketchbook. It doesn't have any lines, which I love. A blank page makes me feel open and willing. And what I end up doing in this sketchbook are things like this. Guys, this is Da Vinci times. This is a sketchbook of ideas, of thoughts, of feelings, of maybe even exercises that are like, what do you have on today? Today I don't feel very well. Thank you. And then going through and just writing a statement about today, and then writing thank you, write thank you. And then maybe another statement about today, and then write thank you. There are things like that in here. There are things, there are, like I said, business ideas. There are drawings. The very first one, I did a self-portrait. This girl, though. So there are sketches. There are yoga classes. There are calendars. There are menu plans for, I don't know who. But it makes me feel good to be able to write all that stuff down. And then every day I turn the page. And at some point I may go back and be really excited about my ideas. But I think that one of the things that a great human, a great artist maybe even, does is realizes that our minds are powerful. They're great. They're open, and they think very interesting things that are in many different directions, not just one direction. And in that way, we get to feel and opine and idealize. And then if we allow ourselves to let that go, it leaves space for new ideas. So I've got ideas in here that aren't good. I'm sure. I've got ideas in here that are pretty stellar. And I'm a big fan of that. So this is one of my coping mechanisms with dealing with thoughts and feelings. I think that sometimes my head feels really full, and it's great to be able to get things down on paper. It's one of the ways that I can let things go. If you're into it, one of the ways that people let things go sometimes is they'll get a journal like this. They'll write, like what I was talking about, what do you have on today? And they'll write down, what you feel about today. Thank you. What that makes you feel. Thank you. And being grateful and practicing gratitude in that way. You can burn it safely. Be safe. But the practice of burning things that you want to let go of, including thoughts and feelings. Maybe you write a letter to somebody that you can't see, and maybe you end up sending it, or maybe you don't. Maybe you just needed to get down on paper that you miss them, so that you can know what you were thinking, and why you were so sad. You can burn those things or let those things go. Some people even bury them. Some people put it in an envelope for later, and then they throw it away if they don't want to go there. So those are some ideas if you like getting your thoughts down on paper. It's enough for me every day to turn the page. This is tomorrow's page. And I don't do it every day. I just write down the things in a peaceful space where my mind can be open, and I watch the clouds go by, and I watch people walk by, and I watch cars drive by, and I let go of the thoughts and feelings that don't serve me. And I hope that for you too. So I hope this helps. I hope that you guys, you guys are going to rock it. Dealing with your thoughts and feelings in this time, we're going to make it through this. We really are all in this together. So, I will see you on the other side. I love you guys, and find the thing that helps you feel and dive into your greatest truths, and then let that go. You'll be thankful you did. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.